Good afternoon, and very good afternoon. Welcome to the show, welcome to Viewgraphy. And today's topic is very awkward. Most of you probably don't going to like it, but I thought let me make this a video, let me share some input about today's topic. And today's topic is principles of taking photos, like ethics of taking photos, or you can call it unofficial protocols for taking photos, etiquettes of taking photos. Now, what do I mean by all that? Like, what do I mean by ethics, or what do I mean by etiquettes, principles, protocol? See, when let me give you some examples. Maybe you were able to understand, maybe you don't, but let me try to make my point. My point is very simple, which is, see, when you go to a doctor, all right, doctor basically listens to you first, and once you listen, then he or she try to diagnose, give you medicine. There you go. You eat medicine, you get better. It never happened that you you go to the doctor, you don't tell anything to the doctor, or maybe you tell doctor that I need, I am having this kind of pain, and doctor just give you medicine without listening properly, or without having a proper diagnosed, or even if he or she diagnosed, he give you specific instructions to do this, to do some kind of test. Based on the tests results, he or she going to treat you. All right. Same. Okay. So there are steps. Simple. You cannot skip any of the steps. Or even if you are having pain somewhere, doctor cannot just diagnose that, oh, you have a gastric ulcer, just by listening, until unless he or she have a great experience in that field. So he or she should be spot on, right, after listening to you. So I'm just trying to make a point. Just keep with me. Same goes for a mechanic, car mechanic. You go to a car mechanic and you say, well, I'm having this kind of issue in my car. And by listening to you, if the experienced car mechanic do the necessary steps, check by check, step by step. For example, the door is locked. You are not able to open the door of the car. So he will check the lock first, or handle first, or if the handle is loose, he will check it from internal. He just cannot randomly open the whole gate and just try to see where the issue is. It could be a small tiny hook which could be missing. That's why your car door is not able to get open. You getting my point? So there are steps, there are principles, there are there are different kind of unofficial protocols that you have to follow in order to take better photos. Let's apply all these as I made this foundation, try to give you the concept of this video. Now let's apply all that into photography. I remember when the Nikon D850 was first launched, and it was many years ago. Everybody goes bonker. Many people complained that they were not having sharp photos. Oh, I'm not getting sharp photos. I'm having blur. If I have to take portrait, I am not able to get sharp portrait unless I'm shooting 2000 and above shutter speed. If I'm shooting below than 2000 shutter speed, I cannot get sharp photos. And that was true. What happening was, even when I used D850 with me, I was, after 1 week, within 1 week, within 1 week I realized that this machine cannot be operated under the normal circumstances. It requires special steps. It requires special protocols. What now? What the hell are you doing? Imagine you are shooting landscapes. Landscape cannot be shot properly, quote unquote, unless you put the camera on tripod. The idea of shooting landscape on tripod is very simple. You want to shoot at base ISO, so it means that you have to lower down shutter speed because you are, shooting at narrow aperture like f8, f10, f9, or f11 sometimes to get the maximum depth of field, to get everything in focus. So it means that you have to slow down the shutter speed. When you slow down the shutter speed, the chances of taking shot blurry using handheld is much higher. Actually, it's very high. So you need tripod. So you put the camera on tripod, you put the timer or the exposure delay of 3 seconds or 10 seconds, you take a shot and everything is sharp focus. But that thing, even if your camera is little bit, you know, move, that movement typically called micro blur. What happened is when you press the shutter release, imagine you are not putting any kind of delay in the exposure. You just put the camera on tripod. You press and taking the photos. You keep pressing and taking the photos. Even by pressing the shutter release button, you are moving the camera with your hand. And what happening is, as the camera slightly moves, it captures that movement. And the higher the megapixel, the higher the movement you can see when you go 100%. When you are shooting with 12 megapixel camera, even micro blur was there, but it's not visible. Why? Because 12 megapixel and you are not getting 100% zoom that much close. But when you are shooting with 45 or 50 megapixel, that's 4 times the resolution. So when you are having 4 times the resolution, it means that when you go 100%, you are getting 4 times close that magnification. So when you go automatically 4 times close, it means that the micro blur, which was already there, even in 12 megapixel, it multiplies by 4 times, and you get the same micro blur much more exaggerated into the frame. And that's the reality. So how to avoid that? Very simple. When I had D850, I introduced few steps, and I remember very strongly that there was a group on Facebook, D850, very famous group. Somebody called me that, somebody wrote that I'm having D850 and how should I operate the camera? And I literally wrote down all steps. I said, first of all, you need a tripod by default. Second, you have to introduce mirror lockup. And anybody who uses the DSLR knows what I'm talking. Mirror lockup means you press, when you engage the mirror lockup, it means that you have to press the shutter twice. First, you press so the mirror goes up. When mirror goes up, it shakes the camera. Alright? When that shake gets settled, then you press the shutter release again, and then shutter opens, and then camera takes the shot. So you see, in DSLR there are multiple steps involved in order to take photos. You press the shutter release button, the mirror goes up, and then shutter goes open, and sensor exposed for the light and take the shot. So it means that mirror goes up, it shakes, it shakes the camera, and shutter opens, it also shakes the camera, and then you take the shot. And if you're having 12 megapixel, that shake is minimum visible. But when you're shooting with higher megapixel camera like D850, that shakes is very much visible. So how do we avoid that shake? We basically engage the mirror lockup. That was the first step. So when the mirror goes up, when you press the first time the shutter release button, the mirror goes up, camera shakes, settle. Then you also introduce the shutter exposure delay mode. Exposure delay mode. Exposure delay mode was like there were 5 types of exposure delay: 0.1, 0.2, 1 second, 2 second, 3 second. 0.2, 0.5, yeah, 0.2 second, 0.5 second, 1 second, 2 second, and 3 second. There was a 5 types. What happening was in those 5 types, you choose any. So I choose 3 second. What happening was when I choose 3 second, it means that when I first click the shutter release button of D850, and I already engaged the mirror lockup. So the first time when I press the shutter release button, the mirror goes up, camera shakes, etc. Then I press the shutter release button again for the second time. The shutter opens, but camera is not start capturing the light, and it waits. It waits for 3 seconds, which I introduce the exposure delay, which I choose into the exposure delay. So what is happening is when the shutter opens, it also shakes the camera. But that shake will get settled in 3 seconds, and then sensors start getting exposed. Then sensors start capturing the light. And my camera was already on tripod. So in this way, first I put my camera on tripod. Second, I introduced the that mirror lockup. Third, I introduced the exposure delay mode, and then I took the shot. So there were 4 steps. And I wrote those 4 steps step by step to that guy on the Facebook. And everybody was bashing me. How the hell? And there was one guy from the neighbor country, and he was like, how the hell you are saying that? It means that we cannot do wildlife photography, we cannot do portrait photography using that and this and that. And I was just listening. I said, man, and I was talking to myself. That guy was asking how to operate. Of course, when you are shooting wildlife, sports action, you cannot do that because it's happening in real time. And in sports action wildlife, you are typically shooting at high shutter speed. So it means that you you can do whatever you like. There will be no delay. You are shooting at high shutter speed, so it means that there will be no micro blur. 2000, 4000 shutter speed. So it means that you don't need to introduce mirror lockup. You don't need to introduce exposure delay. You don't need tripod. You just like tuck, tuck, tuck. It's happening in real time. But people don't get that. And after a certain period of time, I got a message from the same guy there. He said, yes, you are right. And I said, see, and the people who experienced D850, they liked my that long input of 4 steps. They said, yeah, you are right. We should follow that. Only a limited number of people understood what I was trying to say. That's one example of when I talk about ethics, when I talk about protocols. I noticed now there is another thing which I just noticed, and it sounds funny and it looks funny. We are having DSLRs, we are having mirrorless. Alright, we have OVF, we have EVF. Now, what I'm going to say is totally subjective, and most of you are going to say, well, he's making some ridiculous point, it doesn't apply in real life. We are taking photos, and it doesn't matter how we take. But again, We are talking about ethics. We are talking about feeling. We are talking about how to do a job properly, how to feel the photography. See, this is a mirrorless camera, Z5. It's a mirrorless camera. It has this LCD and it has this EVF. Okay. Before that, we used to have DSLR, and everybody was stick to look into the OVF like this. Everybody. We were forced to look into the OVF because that's how we see the world. That's how we compose the shot. That's how we were seeing the world. I mean, seeing whatever we like, portraits, landscape, product photography, whatever. We compose the shot like this. We properly engage ourselves with the machine. We feel the machine. We dive into the machine when we look into the machine about the settings because we are physically this much close. Alright. Now, after introducing this mirrorless, and mirrorless have this LCD, as you can see. Okay, you're seeing this LCD. Okay, so everybody is now shooting like this. Check, 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 check. They not even bother to look into the EVF. Nobody wants to bother into the look even to the EVF anymore. Just like OVF. It means that that intimacy, that connection that you have with the machine is no longer there. Even the people with the DSLR, they are shooting like this because many guys, young newbies, young photographers who are starting photography, they see everybody shooting like this and they were like, click, 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 click. So I was like, what the hell wrong with those people? Okay, fine. When you are shooting with low angle like this, low angle shot, you cannot, you're putting the camera down at the ground level. You flip that screen out. Okay, then you can engage this LCD. Okay, then you look into that. Or you are taking the shot from above like this. Okay, you cannot look from down from the height. You are shooting a event where you cannot reach to the place, so you're putting the camera like that, then you flip the screen and then you look into that screen because you can't see into the EVF, and that was done like this. Then it makes logic to look into the back of the camera LCD because you can't reach into the EVF or OVF. But that body language for normal shooting, for any event photography or even portrait photography, when you shoot like this or like this or like this, it shows your body language, your disconnection with the machine. You are not physically engaged or emotionally engaged with the machine. You are just keeping it at, at a distance from you. So how do even you feeling the photography or you feeling the scene when you are not looking it closely? Trust me, there is a huge difference by shooting like this or by shooting like this. Huge difference. Huge difference. You are missing a lot of things by looking at like this. And when you go like this, you start noticing a lot. a lot of stuff. Aperture, shutter speed, white balance, framing, grids, what's in the background, what should kind of thing I should avoid in the foreground, stuff like that. It's a small thing. What I just said is a very small thing, but it called ethics, protocol. That feeling which makes you a better professional photographer. See, you can't do photography unless you feel it by heart. Regardless, no matter how much you say, well, I am a passionate photographer. I have this passion for so many years, blah, 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 blah. I used to say the same, but I wasted like 6 years. Nearly 6 years I wasted by just keep spending the money on the gears, keep spending money on the lenses, accessories, without realizing that it's not the gear which is going to make my photography better. It's me. It's me. I have to lift up my game. I used to have the very latest camera every single time from Nikon, and that's how I built up my experience around the cameras, because I used every camera except D1 series and D2 series. I used every single camera which is digital camera released by Nikon. D1 series, D2 series, and mirrorless, and one series. Yeah, these three series. After that, I used every single camera. I used D3200, D3300, 34, 3500, D5000, my very first camera, D5100, 5200, 5300, 5400, D5500, D5600, D7000, D7100, D7200, D7200 is, I love that camera for so many various reasons. Um, I used an D500, I love that camera. Uh, D700, that's my all-time favorite DSLR, period. I used D3, D3S, D4, D4S, D5, D6, D800, D800E, D810, D850, Z6, Z7, Z62, Z72, Z5. That's I found E5 is the most economical, most reliable full frame entry level mirrorless camera, period, at with the lowest price, which can make for video, can take photos for you without any issue. Z5, in my opinion, is the best, and Z50, ZFC, and Z30, from which I'm making this video right now. I used all of them. Even D6 I used. Z9 I owned at one point of time, and I sold it. So I used all of them, and I found that these are just tools. Everything comes from here, from my imagination. I had to be at the right time at the right place to play with three things: light, composition, colors, in order to make my images look different. And I pushed myself to follow the ethics. I was, I am awake all night just to be there at Fujairah to capture the sunrise, or to capture the moon over the horizon, or over the mountains, or to capture those fishing boats right at the front of the sunrise, to capture their silhouettes. or to capture a model or a person with the right light, to improvise if the light is not as per my will. Like the last shoot that I did of Noya, it was totally improvisation. I was supposed to shoot at outside at the beach, sunrise, but we found a restaurant and we found the perfect light, fortunately. And we did the whole shoot indoor instead of outdoor. So I improvised. So again, I felt from inside everything. That's how I manage everything. If I'm not feeling from inside that what I have to do, then it doesn't matter anymore. My work is going to be as average, just like anybody else. I was having discussion earlier with the person and we said, well, viewers, it's very easy for a photographer or a model to get viewers by showing their skin. I'm sorry, it's a kind of a controversial topic, but that's the reality. That's how models and photographers are making their fan base. That's how they get views, just to show the skin. The more the skin, the more the viewers. But it doesn't mean that you just go blindly. You have to keep, that aesthetic input, that which brings the value into your photography. That people who are, with regardless of what kind of mental status they have, they are religious or non-religious, they are very much comfortable in seeing your work. Even if it's a little bit of skin exposing, still everybody should be comfortable in looking your work. Again, that's subjective, it depends on the photographer and model, but we are talking about protocols, unofficial protocols, aesthetic, those etiquettes, those, I don't know, those unofficial rules. Again, it's that subjective. By looking into the EVF or the back of the camera LCD, again, that's subjective. But it's there. It's going to help you to grow your work. It's not necessary that you have to do it all the time. But to do it all the time, it will help you on the long run. It shows how mature you are. It shows how much you are taking photography seriously or religiously. I take photography religiously. I used to be, not anymore. And now I do photography just on the go. I don't care people like my work or not like my work, but I believe on one thing: consistency. You have to be consistent all the time. People will going to follow you if you keep pushing yourself to do a high quality work or even average quality work. But as long as you are persistent, consistent, it always count. Always. Again, it falls into the same category. Etiquettes, principles. Because you are taking photography as an art form. You just don't post one image in 1 month and expect people going to follow you or going to believe on your work. You have to be consistent all the time. And again, it's a part of protocol, unofficial protocol, etiquettes, ethics, whatever you call it. People going to follow you as long as you are consistent, as long as you are sharing. I share knowledge all the time. I love to share photography knowledge more than I love to do photography into the field. and I'm keep sharing this thing, making video. This video is the part of my same effort. I'm consistent in sharing information, even this kind of boring information right now, which I'm making this video about. It doesn't add any practical value for so many people out there, and they're not going to like this video, but still I'm making this video because I know there are somebody out there in the world who are going to believe on me and who are going to say, yeah, that guy is making some crazy points which doesn't make any logical sense in today's fast world, but we know, or I know what he's talking about. Young generation probably not going to listen to this video, not going to like this video, but people from the old generation, or the people who use the film camera or DSLR, they will going to agree with me what I am saying. You have to connect yourself at the multiple levels, and the first step is to start holding the camera and bring that camera close to you. This is a doorway, this is the gateway to your imagination. If you are, this is a window right now, all right? And the window is less like 3 feet away from me. 3 feet away, I'm getting this light, okay? If I'm going to sit and make the video far, like 10 feet, I won't able to get this light. I have to be sitting next to it in order to get that feeling. This is the doorway. This is the gateway for having awesome light, which I can't have in any kind of studio. Of course I can get, but this big window is the bonus for me. And I'm feeling it all the time. Whenever I sit next to it and I took the photos of the people, or I sit myself and making this video right now, like I did many times before, I'm feeling each and every single time this light and its effect over my photos or over my videos. That connection. This camera is a tool. You have to feel it, and holding the camera close to you, as close as possible, that's one of those steps to make it feel in your hand, in your heart, so you can, you know, lost into it and get the best out from it. Many people have their camera and they don't even know what the functions of the camera is. They don't have any idea what this button do, what that button do, because they never experienced it. They're keeping that distance between them and the camera. It looks stupid. I mean, I don't know how people even hold the camera like this and take their photos. Their body language, it's so unconnected with the world of photography. Body language matters a whole lot, and the holding your camera close to you is one of those very first steps. That shows your body language, that shows your connection with the world of photography. High resolution camera, you have to put on tripod. Now many of you are going to say, well, we are living in a world where the insecurity is so much outside, we cannot put camera on the road because people are going to snatch, blah blah blah. Completely understood. And I agree with the point. Go with a bunch of friends. You are more, so there are less chances that your gear is going to be snatched. Use the available platform like footpaths. or the roof of the car, where you put the camera in a stable position and take the shot. No need for taking out the tripod all the time. I took one shot, I remember, at half a second exposure without tripod, half a second exposure. You know what I did? I hold the camera so much close to me like this, and I put the camera against my shoulder. Okay, like this. Exactly. Looking through the viewfinder like this. Okay, and I use my shoulder to support this, and I was leaning against the signboard on the road. So there was a signboard, and I completely pushed myself to that signboard over here so I get stable. Then I further hold the camera to this, so there my shoulder was between the camera and the pole, and I keep pushing myself, hold like this, and I click for half a second, and I got a good static shot without any blur. Why I did that? Because I learned it from someone and I applied into the field. Let me take this photo and I'll put on the screen. Probably you're seeing right now. Yep, that's the image. So I took that shot like this. Again, I felt it. There are many shots which I took handheld without any jerk. I used the in-camera body, this internal body image stabilization, and without tripod. I used the ground as a support because I know there are certain locations where I can't take out the tripod all the time for security reasons, for commercial reasons. I was at Victoria Station, London. I was shooting, putting on the tripod, and police came. They busted me, and I was a tourist, and I did not have any kind of identification with me. No passport, no nothing. And I literally put that. Fortunately, I was wearing a coat, proper dressing, and I put a tripod, and my friend was with me, and I was like, man, I like this ambience, and I'm going to slow down the shutter speed. I was 1424. I will slow down the shutter speed, but I need a tripod, so I planned the tripod, and I was taking on the first floor, Victoria Station, down, and I took the shot. You're just gonna see the right now on the screen. And while I was taking the shot, I saw a police guy walking by like this in front of my camera, and he was staring at me. And I talked to my friend. I was like, "Man, this guy is staring at me. I'm feeling a trouble." And he said, "Don't worry. People take photos all the time here." I was like, "Okay." Within 2 minutes, that guy with further two policemen was standing at the back of my, and they were like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh shit! Now I'm going to the police station." I said, "Well, I am a tourist. I came from Birmingham. I am here on a visit, and I'm just taking a photo." I showed them the photo. This is the photo. I said, "You want to delete? Delete it." And he was like, "No, we are not going to delete it. But we need to know all your whereabouts." Like, okay. I said I come from Dubai, and I'm here for a visit. I came from Birmingham. And he said, "Okay, show me your identification." I said, "It's in Birmingham. Passport is in Birmingham. Where you are staying? In Birmingham. How you are here?" I said, "I'm here from by a bus." "Okay, show us the ticket." I said, "It's in my phone." So I opened my phone, show them the ticket. And they were like, "Man, we have no clue about you. But from where you are, we just can't believe on you, whatever you have said. But I was properly dressed, and again, body language. So my body language helped me on that day from getting busted by the police guys, and they let me go. I was like, fine, take my camera, because I know I'm not doing anything wrong. Delete if you want to delete photo, do it. They know by law they can't do that, and they can't even touch my camera or delete my camera. They hold my camera. He played. He saw the image, but he didn't delete it. He didn't. He was like, okay, fine. He note down all my details, and he let me go. I was like, fine, okay, cool. It happened with me in Dubai all the time. Police car come out of nowhere. Security guys comes out of nowhere. What you're doing? Blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, fine, no worries. And I just pack my stuff. I go. No argument. So again, that's my experiences that I have over the year. But it never stopped me in taking photos. I always keep my stuff with me whenever I go out, because I know I get any kind of shot anywhere and any time. I remember last year, yeah, it was November or December. We were having I was working in one of the company as a staff photographer, and it was a big billboard. They were making the billboard, and we were supposed to take photos of the billboard, and the construction of the billboard going on. It was a very big signboard, road signboard. So we were there, and sun was about to set. Sheikh Zayed Road. I was standing in front of the Crown Plaza, and the sun set, and there was a reflecting light from the buildings and come straight to me. I saw that light, and I just forget about what's going on the billboard side. I jumped over the car or on the truck. I stood on the truck and I took the vertical shot of the whole Sheikh Zayed Road scene. You're gonna see the shot right now, because that moment start giving me that vibe of the classic western shots that I saw of New York, Times Square, Las Vegas, stuff like that. I get that vibe from that site at that time, and I took that shot. Again, I felt connected with the scene, and I had mediocre D3S with that old 80 to 200 4.5, I believe, manual focus lens. But I didn't care. For me, the mat, because each passing second the lights got dimmer and dimmer, so the reflection on the building was also getting dimmer and dimmer. So for me, it was like improvise quickly, take the shot, khalas. Again, feeling. And I just, in order to take the shot, I overcome all the physical obstacle. I climbed on the truck, on the roof of the truck, and I was taking the shot because I need height. I need a little bit of foreground in front of the frame, which you have seen already. So that's how I do things, because I feel it. I always give respect to these machine. I always try to connect with these machine to myself, and then I take the photos. I think I talk enough boring stuff, and most of you are probably not going to agree with me on this, but still, I thought to share my heart out, thought to share some points which may going to help you in future. If you are having high resolution camera and you are having not not so sharp images or are technically called micro blur images, try to shoot through tripod and try to look from the EVF or OVF rather than the back of the camera LCD. It will help you improve your photography. It's a very small thing, but it counts a lot. Feel the camera, feel everything. Only then you can make the difference. If you are watching this video by now, thank you so very much, and I'm thankful to you. Thank for staying at Viewgraphy, and I'll see you guys in future with some new video. Till then, take care.